Self-harm. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hey Cousins hosted by Peaches from Peace, Love, and Light. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. If you or someone you know has talked about or contemplated suicide, please call 988 and get help today. From the recent train derailments across the country to the numerous sightings of UFOs, there seems to be controversy and turmoil everywhere you turn. As if that isn't bad enough, being overexposed to these events on the news and social media creates panic and fear that many people find difficult, if not impossible, to escape. Recently, there's been a huge shift in mental health awareness, and many people are beginning to realize the negative impacts from living a stressful lifestyle. But did you know that a lack of emotional response to traumatic events can also be a sign of being overwhelmed? Mental health has been such a taboo topic in many different cultures and communities for so long that we are just starting to understand how poor mental health and mental illness manifest. For this reason and many more, it is extremely important that we begin to learn the early signs of being overwhelmed before it leads to burnout. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some mental illnesses and disorders that are genetically inherited. However, there are still many disorders that develop over time. Either way, the best method of intervention is learning how to detect the signs of poor mental health early on. We are all unique. Two neighbors could grow up right next door to each other, attend the same school, become members of the same club, graduate the same year, and still live two completely different lives. We all react differently to changes in our internal and external worlds, and for some people, the change will go unnoticed. Suffering in silence takes many forms. Some people seclude themselves, some people become verbally aggressive or short tempered, but for some people, a lack of expression and emotional output can lead to self harm. Self harm is when you intentionally hurt or harm yourself as a means of coping and dealing with painful memories or overwhelming emotions or challenging situations. Some of the most visible signs of self harm include drug and alcohol abuse and eating disorders, but other forms of self harm, like cutting, can be a little more difficult to notice. In the black community throughout the United States, there are so many important conversations that need to be had, and for these reasons and more, mental health and self harm don't usually receive the attention they deserve. Nearly 10 years ago, I found it difficult to express my own emotions, and I began to use self harm to cope. Till this day, I still can't fully put into words, but the way I felt weighed on me so heavily that I decided to turn my emotional pain into physical pain. Just like so many other people suffering in silence, I kept this secret from anyone around me until I discovered the eight limb path of yoga. Emotions are so much more powerful and bountiful than the alphabet alone can express. That's part of the reason why we paint and sing and dance. All of these different art forms gives us a way of expressing emotions that will otherwise go unsung and unheard. As an artist and creative, it never dawned on me that I could use my craft to release the emotions that I was hoarding. When I was self-harm, there would be a brief moment of relief, but it was clear that it was only a temporary fix, just like a drug addiction. Getting help or providing support should always be based on the needs of the individual. My support system included a mentor and a lot of support from my family. However, some people may need additional support from a psychologist or psychiatrist. We all have different versions of wellness, and that is okay. We should be encouraged to explore different practices like meditation, photography, journaling, or sound therapy to help cope with stress. It's okay to not always be okay, but it's not okay to suffer in silence because we can't find the right words or because you think no one else will understand. No one performs at 100% all of the time. However, a consistent yoga practice can teach you how to be the best you can be in each moment. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Hey Cousins, hosted by Peaches from Peace, Love, and Light. This show was sponsored by Sean Lee Jones and the Creative Healing Foundation. Make sure that you subscribe to this podcast to stay up to date with the latest and exclusive content. And if you would like to continue the conversation, leave your thoughts, questions, and concerns in the comment section.